Rolling. Okay, hello everybody. I'm going to talk a little bit tonight about this whole guilty eating thing and this reoccurrent behavior where somebody has something to eat and then they don't feel good unless they eat, and the psychological reason of why that happens, and and then the guilt that comes afterwards, and how to kind of sort of break free. Now, I do not pertain, some disclaimers, I'm not a doctor or a therapist, or I have life coaching experience. I am not licensed, however, and I'm also not a spokesperson for Provita or Michael Thurman. However, these are the products that when all else failed me, these were the things that worked. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the psychological reasons why people eat. The number one thing is that first, it's a chemical reaction in the body because it releases serotonin right here in the center of your brain, or in like the frontal lobes right here. There's like a little gland, and it's serotonin that's released like the minute we bite into a piece of chocolate or something. Okay, so it releases serotonin, and we don't realize it because it's not a big enough feeling to feel sort of on the outward, uh, you know, tingle on our skin kind of thing. Nothing like when you smoke a cigarette or do drugs or do something else. I don't know. This is so subtle that we just don't realize what's actually happening to us, okay? Another reason why some people eat is a psychological reason, and it's because maybe something happened as a child that was very traumatic, and or even something as like a young adult or whatever. Most of the time, let's face it, when people are trying to eat dinner, most people are like, oh, I'm not going to disturb them because they're at the table eating dinner. So little kids feel safe in that moment. The food makes them feel full. It gives a false sense of fulfillment of the spirit, okay? So, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you confuse that fulfillment for some emotional need, okay? And so you get into this mental habit of eating. And so later on as adults, we realize that the constant indulgence of eating when we know that we really don't need to have that donut, or, we just had a full meal and we don't need to stuff ourselves beyond capacity. Um, Afterwards comes the guilt. And then people get this apprehension, they get this thing where they're just like afraid to eat. It's like one little small bowl of soup, and they're afraid someone's going to make a smart remark about it or something, okay? So I am here to tell you that it is okay for us to eat. We can enjoy our food and we can eat often, okay? In fact, from now on, I just want everyone to just start stuffing their face, okay, with healthy, good, wholesome, fulfilling foods. Those empty calories, those chips and soda and donuts and waffles, pancakes, disgusting. It's just disgusting. Don't even get me started about food, because I start ranting and raving, okay? I want to start seeing some healthy eating, and I want you guys to eat whenever you want. This means I want to start seeing some eating that happens every 2 hours, okay? So I tried every diet, every exercise regimen, all that kind of stuff combined, and it was only temporary, um, results. The results were temporary. Sure, yeah, I got skinny. I did, yeah, for like about 2 months. And I suffered so much for that diet. Ugh, liquid diets, shakes, disgusting. Pills, I'm telling you, I dated this guy named Irwin, and he went bald at like in his 30s, okay? I've seen people lose their hair in their 20s, and it's because they made a boo-boo. And I'm not saying everybody did this or this is the reason why. I'm just saying a lot of times I found out later that they went to the health food store thinking that they were okay, and they took natural diet pills, human growth hormone. They took creatine. Creatine is the demon of all bodybuilding blocks as far as I'm concerned. I have seen these effects. I've worked in the health food store. I've talked with the customers. I've dated guys that have lost their hair. And again, whenever even if it's a natural supplement, it's still not 100% natural, because you're pushing your body to do something that it normally cannot do of its own free will, that it happens without you having to think about it. Okay, so once you push, you risk burning out your liver, your kidneys, and most of all your adrenal glands. So when you hurt your adrenal glands, that's where you start losing muscle mass and your hair falls out, your skin looks terrible, your energy's zapped, and you've hit this plateau where you can't lose any more weight or gain any more muscle, and that's because you have literally just killed your metabolism. In some extreme cases, you may have to go see a doctor to get it fixed, or see a certified nutritionalist to fix this. And, you just don't want to go there and do that, okay? So after all the failures and stuff, and each time I did Atkins diet or some Nutrisystem kind of thing, and then you try to go back to a normal lifestyle, not possible. If you can't do this for the rest of your life, then just think of it as a temporary thing, at least until like the very end of your 40s. Because I know after that, hormone fluctuations and, different things, related to age, I have not experienced that yet. I have not really talked to many people. So, I'm saying from your 20s to your 40s, enjoy those good years because you need to, make them last as much as you can, okay? So now, of course, I've got some gorgeous friends in their 60s, and I won't, you know who you are. And, some of them are in their late 60s, and they look dang good. I mean, they are slim, they're fit. I thought they were professional trainers, I got talking to some of them in the gym, and I was just blown away that it's just good old-fashioned eating right, and exercise. So in this little binder here that I got from Provita Life Sciences, this was way back in the day, 2003, called the 6-Week Body Makeover Plan. Michael Thurman did this back when all those TV shows were very popular, like The Swan, Extreme Makeover, and things like that. And so Michael Thurman was really getting his name out there, and he teamed up with Provita because he knows from experience what works and what doesn't, and that pills and shakes and cheating is never ever going to get you permanent results, okay? So Provita Life Sciences actually had a team of doctors, plus with Michael Thurman's exercise regimen and some of his tips of a blueprint for each individual body. Now, it's really hard to even find it nowadays on the market. I found a few of these, 6-week makeover things, and I spent like close to $300 or something for this giant kit, and now they got it on Amazon for $39.99. So, and I posted a link for that a while back, so you'll have to, go back through the threads and take a look. So this was the thing that saved my life. So I'm going to share a little bit of like the food portion, because this is a whole entire program that covers like exercise, how you can exercise less, eat more, and have just a happier life, okay? And so the Provita Life Sciences, when they do the blueprint, they ask you very specific questions like, when you first get up in the morning, do you have to wait a while before you kind of wake up and feel hungry, or are you just starving the minute you get out of bed? Those kinds of things matter, apparently. They ask you also other questions like, have you always been considered just, kind of a little on the heavy side, or have you always been considered bone thin and, you look terrible, you look like a pretzel stick, those kinds of things matter because that will depend on the kind of food that your body type can eat. Now, I did this quiz over and over and over just to see what would happen, if I answered these. And you have to have some like really far out, like extreme on one end of the scale or the other. Most people, I'd say 75%, are going to fall in the body type B category. And so that's the kind of foods I'm going to cover tonight, okay? So what's really important is to try to get out of bed by 7 and eat within that first hour of waking up. Even if you don't feel hungry. When I first did this back in my 30s, I had to literally gag and choke the food down with a bottle of water, and I had to eat every 2.5 hours. If I waited till like 3 hours or 3.5 had passed, your metabolism starts going into storage mode. And every calorie it gets, it will store it as fat. That's why I want all this guilt eating to stop. I want you to feel totally guilt-free about eating every 2 hours and make it a discipline, and it'll take a while, maybe 3 or 4 days. You'll feel really strange because we're going to cut out all the sugar, all the wheat, and the complex carbs, and you're going to eat whole foods, okay? And I'm going to give examples, at breakfast time, and, a little later on, I'm going to go through the manual and just tell you what to eat, what body type B's. And like I said, most of us fall in a body type B category. So you have to get used to it. So like I said, you're going to feel a little strange, like I just ate something and I'm still starving, even though I got like a stomach ache because I ate so much and I'm so full. Why do I feel so bad? Okay. What you're going to go through in like the first 2 or 3 days is you are detoxing from sugar. People do not realize how toxic they are and how much sugar is in their bloodstream. Even Whole Foods has some sugar in it, okay? But I'm going to tell you a little secret. If you're like they bring in donuts to the office or whatever, and you think, oh, it's just a little half donut, you've already blown it for the day. The reason why you can't do that is because the minute you have even 1 teaspoon of sugar, it shuts your metabolism down. It just cuts you down. And I notice, like, if I have waffles or pancakes or whatever, I'm not hungry all day, and I'm almost like a brain dead zombie, just kind of going through the motions, but not really mentally there all day. And that's what sugar does. It's really scary, actually. You'll find that when you get rid of any kind of processed foods and you start eating whole, normal, natural foods, that your brain fog and everything, you're going to be so much more mentally in tune and clear. Okay, your energy levels are going to immediately pick up. So don't worry, don't be alarmed when you start eating this way and you cut all the garbage out. That starving feeling, you're going to come to love that feeling, and it will calm down. It won't be so intense. It's just when it's brand new, it's like freak out time. You're like, what the heck is going on? And it's a little scary. So just drink a lot of water, drink your tea, whatever. Stay away from the boba. Okay, so I'm gonna go over breakfast. Okay, so like your first meal of the day should be a protein and a fruit. And you can judge how much protein you should have by the size of your palm here, okay? And when I think about it and I look at my palm, I'm going, God, that's kind of like a big amount, And if you go down and you put your hand over your tummy, you're like, yeah, that does feel kind of big. Well, good. That means we get to eat a lot and we don't have to feel guilty. All right, so body type Bs, you can actually take some of the foods from body type A, such as egg whites. And so you want to have 2 or 3, maybe even 4 if you're doing some serious weightlifting in the gym, or if you're kind of a big guy. Men probably need more. So you want to have, if you want to just do egg whites, you can do an egg white scramble, scramble egg white, or you can just boil an egg. Most of us don't have time. And for those of us that work, when I was in the office, I would have to make these little snack-sized Tupperwares and hide them down, and I would have 2. And I'd hide them down in my desk drawer because they're not going to be out of the fridge long enough to spoil, like maybe 2 hours, because, I wake up, I eat. Get to work, 2 hours later, I got to find an excuse to leave my desk and try to eat. So everybody needs a bathroom break, even teachers, judges, lawyers in the courtroom. You are entitled to a 10-minute break in the morning before your lunch break. That's when you need to chug that food down. Even if you don't get your 10-minute break, say, hey, I got to run to the bathroom. On your way there, I want to start seeing you just shovel that food and guzzle that water and get it in your tummies, okay? So, egg whites, You can have some fish like flounder, haddock, cod, and not the breaded bandy camps, okay? You can have orange roughy, red snapper. Now, I cheat a little bit and I say salmon's okay too. Just don't load it up with butter. We're not gonna, you gotta eat clean, okay? That's another point I need to make is eating clean. Okay, so omit the no more frying foods. You know, we're gonna bake stuff. Minimal oil. Use bake spray if you have to. If you can't saute it in water. Okay, here's some other types of fish: halibut, mahi mahi, tuna, and shark. I love opening up a can of tuna, especially when you can find like the lower sodium stuff. And in my little mini food processor, I grind up carrots, zucchini, cucumber, and crap loads of celery. Celery is like, oh, the god of all vegetables. Let me tell you. Celery, if you've got a mandolin, go to the 99-cent store and get one of those like little slicers, and you do this, and you get really fast on that mandolin, and you make these like delicate, like paper thin slivers of celery, and you put that on top of oatmeal. Now, oatmeal is going to be saved for, I think, a late night snack instead of eating it for breakfast. And, you know, because it's more of a carby carb instead of, even though it's a complex carb, it's still kind of in that gray area, okay? So, yeah, celery, you know, so you load that up and then you mix that in with your tuna, and you don't even need to have a fruit, okay? So, let's see. Also, you can have chicken breast, turkey meat. One of my favorite things to do is take. I go to the butcher. I don't buy the processed turkey meats from, you know, where the cheese and all that stuff is hanging in the grocery store. No, I go to where they're gonna actually slice it off. I don't know why. I just feel that it's better quality. If we're gonna kind of step off, you know, instead of having like a nice healthy chicken breast or chicken leg or something like that, and you need a quickie breakfast, I take some turkey lunch meat, wrap it around a slice of apple or cantaloupe, and pop that in my mouth, and then you have like 5 of those. And I usually take, you know, I cut the strips of turkey meat. So for me, I take 2 big slices of turkey lunch meat that are like normal bologna thickness, okay? And that's my first meal, okay? So I do that like 5 or 6 times until I feel kind of, you know, semi-full, and that's your whole breakfast. So your breakfast is going to be a protein and a sugar, okay? You want the right kind of sugar. We're not doing carbs yet, okay? So you're going to want to do this 2 times. So let's talk about the fruits you're allowed to have. Oh, and you know what? You can also have crab and lobster. Hey, scallops you're allowed to have. You can have shrimp if you're not allergic. Turkey breast, ground turkey, just plain ground turkey. All right, so that's that. So you're going to have so your fruits here. Okay, so you're gonna type A and type B can both have. You can have both those types of fruits in this kit. And so the number 1, of course, fruit is grapefruit. Any kind of mixed berries, you know, blueberry, blackberry, raspberries, you know, you can have those. That's a fruit. And, you know, try to keep it like in the size of your hand, or half a cup. Peaches, you're allowed to have peaches. Pineapple, which that seems kind of sugary, but, you know, no oranges of that. You know, watermelon, you know, that's too much sugar. If you know, you can have those things. However, don't expect to lose 5 pounds that week, okay? You know, you gotta, if you want the absolute best results, stick to the plan. Strawberries, bananas, and, you know, bananas are really sweet. Any kind of apples, cantaloupe, honeydew, that's allowed. Okay, papaya is allowed. Pears, and I love pears because they come in so many varieties. Plums are allowed. Okay, but like real sugary stuff like grapes, not allowed. Oranges, whole figs, dates, come on, cherries, dried fruits like coconut and trail mix, passion fruit, no. Okay, so you're gonna try to get up at 7 by 7:30. Get 7 between 7:30 and 8, and you know some of you may already be on the road, but just pack it in a Tupperware, throw it together, and you're gonna want to do that 2 times within 2.5 hours each of each other. Now lunchtime comes around, and you're gonna take out the sugar or the fruit and add a vegetable, and then you need to add a carb, because at that point you're midway through the day, you need some serious calories to burn to make it through the rest of the day. And like I said, this is by a scientific research. There's a reason why you don't get carbs or oatmeal or things like that for breakfast. Okay, so I just trusted the program, and it worked for me in my 30s. And then, I kind of fell off the horse a little bit throughout the years and said, and before I got back to the size that I was, I snapped out of it and said, I got to start eating right and exercising again. And I lost more weight and I look better in my 40s, body-wise at least. I've aged a little bit, but, body-wise, I look better now than I ever did before. Okay, so some of the vegetables that you can have with your lunch, and like I said, the size of your palm portion, okay, not both hands now, okay, you can have jicama, that's a good vegetable, parsnips, turnips, you can have a potato, but, omit the butter, put a little bit of garlic salt on it, and trust me, after a week of getting rid of salad dressing, butter, oil, sugar, and you get used to using more spices to flavor your food, and I'm not talking like the stuff that you buy, the taco seasoning. No, that stuff has got so much chemicals and stuff. Don't even get me on a food babe kick, let me tell you, because the BFT or whatever, BDF or whatever that they have, it's deadly. It's deadly. Okay. So anyways, rutabagas, which I've never had, that's another thing you can have. Squash, zucchini, yams, or sweet potatoes, and yummy. I love that because they got a crap load of sugar. And the great thing about once you detox, after that like 4th or 5th day, food is going to start tasting better because everything's being detoxified and renewed. And so, everything's going to everything's going to intensify, which is really cool. You can have barley, okay? You can have millet. You can have a little bit of millet. You can have a little bit of oatmeal. Rice noodles. You can have rice noodles, but, stay away from the wheat, unless you are, people have accused you of being anemic, or, they, what do you call that disease where, people don't keep their food down and they basically waste away and they're a walking skeleton. There is a special diet for that. Okay, so this plan is not just about losing weight, it's about gaining it too. So don't go venturing off into the food type C, D, or anything else. Stay with the A and the B's, okay? So that millet, that oatmeal, the rice. Oh, I love rice. White or brown, you gotta have some leeway, keep it within the portion size, and that's your carb, okay? So all these things are, awesome carbs. Vegetables, let's see what kind of vegetables we get to have. Artichokes, yum, okay? And you will get used to eating these things without mayonnaise and butter, okay? Asparagus. If you cook your asparagus in like some vinegar and a ton of lemon juice, go to a neighbor, walk around the neighborhood, find someone that's got a lemon tree and, ask them, hey, can I have a few of your lemons if I clean up your walkway or whatever? Most people will be like, oh yeah, sure, you can have as much as you want. Get used to cooking things in lemon juice and vinegar, and low sodium soy sauce is okay. And sauteing things in water, you really just, you don't even miss it after a while. And then when you do eat it, you feel like a little repelled. It's kind of like disgusting. Okay, so asparagus is another vegetable. Beets, I've never liked beets. Bell peppers, bok choy, love the stuff. Okay, miso soup with some bok choy in there. Okay, broccoli, Brussels sprouts. Now, some people say, I don't like Brussels sprouts because it makes me fart too much. You know what? And it does stink up the house. It does. However, you can take all those little leaves off and just use some very light cooking spray, which some people would flip out even about that, and I'm not that strict. And so you put all those on a cookie sheet with some tin foil and sprinkle that with some garlic salt or onion powder or whatever, go crazy. Get some Chinese Szechuan or sriracha sauce, you know, put it on those things, you know, and each individual little leaf, you can bake that and it becomes chips. So there's your chips, there's your junk food, okay? And so, you know, because it's a vegetable and it's not really a chip, you can have that for a snack, okay? So even if you can't make it the 2.5 hours and you just have to munch on something, you're feeling some stress at work and you need to, like, your teeth need to grind, okay? You know, Brussels sprouts make excellent chips. You can even get like veggie chips over at Sprouts or the health food market. Cabbage. Cabbage is another great, and any kind of cabbage. Carrots, celery, love celery, cauliflower. They're saying like cauliflower is like the new mashed potatoes. I wasn't that impressed with it. Cucumbers, they're sort of a free food. Eggplant. Oh my gosh, do you know how sweet eggplant is? I never knew this as a kid. I just was freaked out because it looked like those pods from that movie, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, you know? Oh no, those big giant purple eggplants. Get the purple slender ones. Saute that with some soy sauce and water and rice vinegar with some like chunks of chicken. And there's this other special sauce that you probably shouldn't have too much of, and it's called boysen sauce or hoisin sauce with an H, hoisin. And it's like soy sauce, really thick soy sauce with sugar in it and like a little bit of maple, you know, and it's really good. So use that on like a cheat night. Okay, green beans, string beans, any kind of greens like collard greens, turnip, mustard, lettuce, fancy lettuces. You can have mushrooms, snow peas, snap peas, spinach salad, any kind of sprouts, Brussels sprouts, chia seeds, sprouts. And like when I'm making a salad, I go ahead and I put chia seeds and flax seeds and sesame seeds on it. And that gives you a little bit of crunch. So you're not missing the croutons and the crap. Okay, also summer zucchini, squash. And I know this sounds really restrictive or whatever. Tomatoes, you can have tomatoes. And oh wow, there are no C or D type vegetables. You get to have pretty much almost anything you want, really. Because, I mean, what's bad about a vegetable unless you're filling up on it, okay? So that pretty much covers what you're allowed to have. And like in between meals, there are your free foods. And let me see if I can just like look that up real quick. There in this kit, there's like a dining out guide. You know how to, you know, avoid totally blowing it, because you know when you first start, you're really excited and you know for those first 6 to 8 weeks. I did it 8 weeks before I you know, had a cheat night or whatever, you know, or went out to eat. You know, I just kind of like, I didn't go out to the club, I didn't go out dancing, I didn't visit with too many friends. I just decided that I was going to work hard. I was going to do 30 minutes of walking a night, and I didn't go to the gym. I didn't lift any weights or do anything like that. And I lost the weight, and I lost like 40 pounds in 8 weeks. So, you know, avoid alcohol at all costs. Try to avoid, you know, cutting out soda, you know, diet soda. There's a lot of sodium in that. Now, there's special conditions such as hypoglycemia or low blood sugar. You might be entitled to an orange or a few grapes. What I do is I have this little box of raisins handy because I've always been low blood sugar. So it's easy for me to get run down really quickly. So I may need a little extra boost, especially like if I'm going to teach a class or I'm going to do like a full hour of KpopX. You know, that took a little adjustment, let me tell you. Exercising the Asian way for an hour, even though it was loads of fun, you try going out to the club without a sugary drink and getting down for an hour, a solid hour, no sitting down, no laughing with your friends, answering phone calls or sending text messages, none of that, no. So, you know, you may need to, you know, if you feel kind of like lightheaded, like, woo, you know, pop a couple raisins in your mouth, and no, you do not get a candy bar, okay? There's low blood pressure, high blood pressure. You got to just watch the salt there. I'm a little bit low blood pressure, and one of the questions in the blueprinting process asked if you get up from a chair And do you feel dizzy if you get up too fast? And I was like, yeah, I really do. You know, what's up with that? And I just didn't realize how sick I was. I was just eating all the wrong stuff. I'll probably do another video on the free foods because I just feel like I've been rambling now for quite a while. And you know, for like when you get later on in age, there's stuff that talks up in this kit that talks about thyroid conditions and how to tweak this plan for you. Estrogen and testosterone for, you know, when you start slowing down on making that. It talks about, you know, especially like at any age for us girls, the week before our girly time is a nightmare. We crave chocolate. Anything makes us cry. Um, you know, you have to kind of tweak the plan so that you don't completely fall off. So if you need to have a few sugary grapes or raisins or something like that, you know, by all means, you know, it's whole food, okay? None of this stuff that I mentioned is processed. You know, but you got to take time out and you got to be at a breaking point. You know, do or die, okay? Enough of the insanity, as Susan Powter calls it. You got to just buckle down and do whatever it takes, okay? And so that means no more running around with your friends and goofing off. No more going to the club where you're going to be tempted to have a, even if it's a non-alcoholic drink, it's filled full of sugar. This means cutting out the boba and no more going out to the tea houses or karaokeing, okay? You know, the first couple of weeks, I would say, until you know that you can handle watching everybody else have a sugary treat, just stay home and focus on disciplining yourself to make yourself eat every 2.5 hours. And remember, 7-7. So start at 7 in the morning, stop at 7 in the evening. Try not to eat after 7. And I know that's not always possible, so that's why it's really important for you to stick to the plan, eat whole foods, no chips, you know, even tortilla chips, even though you're cutting out all the wheat, or you like those rice crackers, rice chips, okay, that's not on the menu. You know better. However, you know, you need a cheat night after you've done the 6 to 8 weeks and you've dropped the majority of the pounds that you want to drop, okay? But before that, stick to the plan and, you know, make yourself eat every 2 hours. If you feel full and you know, once you get past that detox stage, you're not going to be tempted to eat the crap. It's, you know, keeping yourself full and going to bed at a decent time so that way the temptation factor is just not there, okay? So let me just look through. So on Sundays, I stay home and I do all the cooking for the week and preparing my meals, putting it in little Tupperwares, and, you know, when it's prepared before the week starts, it's so much easier because there's less temptation to just grab something real quick because it's there and hey, I'm hungry and I have to eat or I'm going to blow it for the day. You know, you don't want to wait much longer after that 2.5 hour mark because, you know, then you start going into storage mode. And even if it's a whole food, even if it's a pure protein and no sugar, no salt, nothing, your body's going to store that as fat. So the whole trick to this whole like eating every 2.5 hours kind of thing is your body knows that, I'm going to get more in 2.5 hours anyway. So yeah, just let go of those calories. You know, we can go ahead and burn those up. It's not a big deal. And so we're training our bodies how to act. And that's the beauty and the magic of this program that I've done. And anytime I've ever done it, I just get right back on track. And man, the pounds, it's miraculous the way that the pounds just seem to drop off without hardly any effort at all. In fact, the first time I ever did this, I didn't even exercise for like the first 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. It wasn't until much later on in the program, I had to just spend like a couple weeks forcing myself to eat every day and to get over the gag factor of, I gotta eat again. Yeah, I know that doesn't sound like it would be possible. Trust me, it is. You get like really sick of eating. And you know, then, you know, you kind of, after that third day and that detox and you start to normalize out, okay? then you're going to really start to enjoy the eating. And I get to eat, not this I have to. Start cleaning up your language. Get rid of the could've, would've, should've's, and the can't, and I don't know. Just say, instead of I can't do that, just say I don't know how to do that yet. Okay, and get rid of the word but. I would have, but just say, well, um, it's not time for me to know that yet, or something. Switch off the buts, like, well, I could, but just say I could, and I plan on doing that later. Change it to a positive. So the ands, yets, replace that with the word but, and get rid of the would-haves and could-haves, okay? So when you change your language, you change your life, and then when you change your eating habits, you change your body, okay? So I hope this has been helpful. Comment below, ask me any questions. I'll be happy to list stuff if you're interested. And this is Sally KpopX Fighting signing off. I hope you enjoyed this webcast. Good night.